ScreenBlast podcast. I am the Canine Biscuits. And this guy, Democracy, from Teletubbies or some shit. I don't know, PBS Kids probably. Where are you from? North Korea. Awesome. Alright, so today we have a couple topics for you. We have...
Mark, how you doing? How's the world? How's the family treating you? How's life treating you? How's the household treating you?
Wallet draining. This is an expensive party and an expensive studio setup.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. You put all of your cryptocurrency money into this, so we're proud of you. We're proud of you.
And it's gone.
Yeah. Every once in a while you may hear in the future, by the way, a member that's currently going to be on lower volume, but he also invested his cryptocurrency, but that was more into kind of lewd stuff that we don't want to get into. So, but that's here or there in the ScreenBlast podcast. We have a lot though going into the briefing, so I think we should jump into that, right, Mark?
Possibly.
I mean, we could discuss water filtration. I was talking about that earlier, but I don't think we should really spend too much time.
We can fuck up this video. We can fuck up this podcast all we want. Fine, let's do it.
It is our podcast. That's a very good point. Anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and jumpstart right into the briefing here. The briefing, of course. Quick rundown of a couple topics that are going on in...
Boxers or brief?
Briefings! Whoa! Alright, first things first, Andrew Garfield actually said something about fucking Spider-Man finally again. And it's not really much, but he's like, he said this quote here. He's like, if you film it or not, there's a story happening in this universe somewhere. There's endless potential with this character and other iterations. So he's definitely out there doing something. This is very open-ended, but Mark, would you want Andrew Garfield to come back? I mean, obviously everyone kind of does. I loved him in No Way Home, but
I think his Spider-Man movies are really not that good. But, I really liked the version of his character in No Way Home. He was a lot less moody there. He was a fun character in No Way Home. I think he was probably the funnest Spider-Man in No Way Home, honestly. But, if they make a Spider-Man 3, they have to direct his character the way he was acting in No Way Home. I mean, a lot of people would say, that's the way he acts in his movies. Didn't feel like it. He felt like he had a different energy in No Way Home. How do you feel about it?
Well, it was definitely a more mature energy. It was not optimistic, if you will, but just, he put more into the character. He was able to be himself more in his character than just, I don't mind too much about the way he portrayed himself in Amazing Spider-Man 2. I know that movie's bad, but I think everything else is bad around him, not necessarily the portrayal of his Spider-Man. I think everything else around him is bad, and the story was shit. But I think his portrayal of Spider-Man was actually pretty good. Again, his Peter Parker's a little too cool. That was always the problem. His Peter Parker is just too cool for school, but he's not really a nerd there. But as Spider-Man, I found it believable 100%.
I'm anxious to see where the story goes. I'm not over the moon for another Andrew Garfield movie, but if they make one, I'll watch it.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
So, it's there.
Absolutely.
I remember this was rumored for a while. This is also rumored along with another Tobey Maguire movie. So,
yes.
Rumors for, the old Spider-Mans coming back for their own movies has been going around for a while. Rumors for, the old Spider-Man's coming back into a Tom Holland movie has been rumored before No Way Home, too.
Yeah, that was running for quite a while.
Spider-Man is always about rumors.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, I know, obviously, Tobey's a little too old at this point, and he's not really in fit shape. I mean, obviously, you have something like fucking Hugh Jackman, who's really old, and he's going to play Wolverine, but, he's fit. Tobey Maguire, everyone knows he was a fucking Christian school teacher. He looked really fucking summer camp fucking teacher. He looked like he wasn't in it, really. So, I think his time has passed to be Spider-Man. I don't think we'll see him ever again, but Andrew Garfield, there's still an opportunity. He clearly could still sort of do I like the idea of potentially going back to him in the future. This is the largest by a mile country that they're officially completely ending their run of physical media. Their sales apparently are so low, and they want to push for Disney Plus. Apparently, it's due to, again, declining DVD and Blu-ray sales they're going to stop producing physical media for the country. Guardians 3 is going to be the final DVD and Blu-ray for Australia to get. Any thoughts on this? Obviously inevitable for the future, but you are a physical media fan. What do you think?
This sucks because I even though I rely on streaming a lot nowadays, I take physical media as like a trophy.
Right.
When I really like a DVD, when I really like a movie, I'll get on DVD as a trophy now, not just to watch anytime I want, but also it is for that. But like it kind of sucks that they don't have that option anymore, because now when shit just goes away off the streaming service, it's just gone for good. Or they have to pirate.
Gotta hope some pirate does something.
Just have to pirate.
Yeah, it's again, it's not inevitable. We kind of thought that this was going to happen because, again, we looked at that statistic for TV usage, and for video gaming and for physical media, it was like 11%. Like 11% of TV usage is gaming and or physical media. Like, physical media is not strong enough to hold its own category anymore. It is just tied in with gaming, and I'm sure gaming takes up most of that percentage. So, it's inevitable, and I know that obviously I feel like it's going to increase in other large-scale countries. It's already happened in quite a few Latin American and Asian countries. So obviously Australia, it's not the first; it's just the largest by a mile. And if Australia goes, I could imagine Disney saying that for European countries, and obviously for eventually. America's by far a massive country. I don't think America's anywhere around the corner. It's just the fact that it's happening at such a large scale, last point on this is just, there's no way that you're going to get better quality out of DVDs anymore.
It sucks. They're not going to get the best DVD feature anymore.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
Yes, and you know what the best DVD feature is?
What?
This Disney DVD is enhanced with Disney Fast Play. Your movie and launch and bonus features will begin automatically. To bypass Fast Play, select the main menu button at any time. Fast Play will begin in a moment. Kind of an explosion.
Oh my god. Yeah, those were the days, All right, let's jump over.
Dude, alright, now, there's a Disney racer game.
Yeah.
And, if there's items, the boost items should just be the Disney Fast Play logo. And, every time you press the boost button, it does the whole Fast Play spiel. And Fast Play will begin in a moment, and then you just start boosting.
I'm going to be honest, that would be a great idea, but Disney's not going to think that far ahead especially for a game developed by Gameloft. There's no fucking way they would look at that far ahead for that.
I think I stepped in something.
Alright, let's move on to the summer movie slate. Mark, last time we talked about this was at the very beginning of July, so let's do this for August. Your prediction was that Barbie was going to win July, and guess what? You were right. I thought it was going to be Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. I said Tom Cruise is going to save the movie industry, movie theaters again. And no, his movie has not even made its budget back, so it is in quite a tough situation. We now have the updated situation here. The big factor here is that Transformers and Elemental are now break-even movies. Transformers was in a state of real peril for a while, even though Transformers is huge, or it was huge. Now it's fine, but it's obviously not what Paramount wants. Elemental, just good for Pixar to have a movie that's not just financially floundering. People saw that word of mouth.
It didn't show up on Disney Plus the next month. Impressive.
No, yes indeed.
Well, now I did The Flash for some reason. It should be on HBO Max by now.
Yeah, no, that Flash is still... The Flash did not move at all, by the way. It has not made it back its budget. It left theaters pretty quickly. Theaters were not interested in holding on to that thing. And Indy 5 did not change at all. People just moved off Indy 5 really quickly. They did not like it. They did not get the old audience. And, Kraken also, big failure. Biggest failure now is Haunted...
Kraken was the worst because I couldn't find convenient showtimes for it. And the movie's theater run is done now. It's done.
It's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Absolutely. Just gone. There was no afternoon showtimes. There was only dead air morning showtimes for Kraken.
By the way, a really good statistic to know about on the right side, by the way, are the big three. We were talking about this at the beginning of July. The big juggernaut, the weird thing, because again, the point of this is movie studios, we believe, were stacking the summer because they were just trying to outflow a lot of movies that were held off from COVID, it seems like. That's why we keep getting movie after movie after movie, but that result is causing a lot of financial stress on these fucking big blockbusters that usually would turn a profit. And every month we would only get one big hitter. For instance, in May it was Guardians. In June it was Spider-Verse. July is the first time where we've had two, and that was because of the Barbenheimer trend. It really fucking blew up. People saw both of those. Oppenheimer only cost $100 million. It's over, I believe, over $300 or $400 million. So it's made its money back and more. So that's in the green alongside Barbie. Barbie, by the way, is now the second highest grossing movie of the year. It made more than Spider-Verse in 2 weeks. So that's how much momentum that movie is making. It is a juggernaut. And by the way, in the domestic state, in like America, it is already right up next to the highest grossing outside of Super Mario movie. And worldwide, Mario is the only thing holding on in like the entire year. And Barbie could reach that.
Okay,
in
so
2 weeks.
just while we're on the subject of Barbie, like because we have, I don't know if you have it on the docket, but like the fucking what was it, the slate for all Mattel movies. I'm pretty sure I've never seen that.
Jesus, I
thought that was a fucking joke. I thought that was like from The Onion or something, but it's real.
Yeah, so Red Letter Media did a joke about that. That's the only place I saw it, and yeah, this is the thing, is they wanted to do this after post Mario movie. Lego movie. They've been talking about that, and that's not Mattel. I'm saying they saw the inspiration of that, and they wanted to do their own cinematic universe in a way. And this is the first big thing to hit, and I think they're never going to find its success again. I don't think they have any other toy brand that's big to do this.
Well, like on that slate,
obviously Hot Wheels is out there, but it's not gonna
fucking Uno,
yeah.
The Magic 8 Ball. I think another Barbie.
Probably a horror movie, most likely. Probably.
I heard it was. I think it's gonna be like a thriller. We have synopsis for some of them.
That's so stupid.
I think there's like other fucking movies based on like toys they made that I haven't heard of.
Yeah.
But Jesus. How are they gonna make movies out of these?
I mean, all they gotta do is believe in themselves and then burn money. Remember, the Lego franchise, remember this, the Lego Cinematic Universe was supposed to be the next big thing. And then it took 2 movies to destroy it. It took, Lego Batman did fine.
No, it took Ninjago and Lego Movie 2, that's when it went down.
That's what I'm saying, it took 2 movies to destroy it. Because Ninjago was the first, canary in the coal mine that these things are not just financially stable immediately. You can't just make a Lego movie that's shit and completely destroys the source material and you're going to make money. That's not how that works. And then Lego Movie 2 had no real anticipation, so that also floundered as well. So, these toy-based movies, there's not a proven success to this. And Barbie was just the right place, right time. On top of the Barbenheimer trend, that fucking made it literally explode.
Greta Gerwig already made a comment. She says, I can only do this once. I don't have another idea for another Barbie.
We'll see when the money comes. We'll see. But by the way, again, we'll see when the money comes.
They'll probably just do it just to do it. But I believe her was just because this is this is a one-time movie. This is a one-time thing. This whole movie.
I mean, sure, but I don't think they're going to find the magic, even if they had her again, because I think this was such a solidly executed idea for a Barbie movie. I know you love the movie, but I'm saying it's a solidly executed idea for a Barbie movie. Whether or not you like it or not, it was very
even well then, I already seen it. I appreciate the movie for being different. Right. If there's a sequel, it's no longer different. It's just more of what I've already seen. Right. So I can't praise it for the sets because it was only new to me in the first movie.
Well, that's what
I can't praise it for the writing. It was only new for. It's just more of the same. Yeah.
Well, that's what happened with the Lego movie. Is then the novelty wore off. It was great to see it in the first movie, but then people were like, "Well, we saw it in Batman, and we saw it in fucking Ninjago, and we saw it in." Fucking Lego and Lego Movie 2, it was we saw that already. We saw the feel for it. We got the feel, and
for me, the movie came to a perfect end. I like the world. I don't want to come back to it again because I'm glad. I'm happy I left it on a high note.
Yeah, I think. Again,
if we see this world again with the same type of jokes, it's just it's just gonna get old. It's just gonna get old.
Again, you already know my thoughts. I'm good with anything else, Bart.
I know. I'm talking about for me. It's just
I know you.
I'm not hype at all for a potential sequel.
Better than the Mario movie.
And like same thing with all these other fucking toy movies. I love Hot Wheels, but like what Hot Wheels coming to life when Andy's not in the room or some shit.
I can't remember the Hot Wheels movie, but I think it was like Highway 49 or Highway 40, Highway 50.
Was the video movie or some shit?
I can't remember what the fuck the name of that shit is. That's the only Hot Wheels movie. It's terrible. It's fucking terrible by today's standards. But that's the only Hot Wheels movie I will ever see. I don't need to see live action fucking racing cars on a fucking track that's fucking CGI and shit. I don't need that. I don't care. Like, it's fine. But let's we're now in August. TMNT is already out. Meg 2 comes out this weekend. Time to ask the question, time to run into this situation. Who wins August this time, Mark? You won last time, but we got Turtles, we have Meg 2, we have this thing's gonna bomb, but it's The Last Voyage of Demeter. We have Blue Beetle, which people keep saying they want to see, but I think is gonna fucking bomb. And Strays, and then you've got Gran Turismo, which moved, by the way, from it's still going to soft release on August 11th, but it will drop fully on wide release on August 25th. So it actually takes that. There used to be an open slot. August 25th used to be a slot with nothing, and they took August 25th. So
I'm gonna say it's between Meg 2 and Turtles.
Really? I mean, they're gonna have the runway. I feel you. I don't.
Meg 2 was popular.
Meg was big.
People love horror thrillers. So like, I think Meg 2 can probably hit it off.
I want Turtles to win, but I'm gonna put. Hey, these motherfuckers. By the way,
if I had to choose one movie, I'm gonna bet my money on Meg 2.
By the way, DC has been a big L this year. But the only movie that I keep hearing people talk about, and they keep saying, you gotta see this movie, you gotta support this movie, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's in person, people are like, I'm excited to see fucking CGI blue Iron Man, fucking sounding like Peter Parker fucking Spider-Man story, but Blue Beetle. Like, I can't wait to see this fucking movie. Like, people are really apparently excited.
There's it possibly can make some money in its first weekend. But even then, its price is going to drop.
I agree.
It does not look like it has the potential to be like an amazing movie.
I absolutely agree with you. I don't know if something's HDMI cord, but I absolutely agree with you. But I'm going to bet on Turtles. Fuck that. I'm not betting on anything DC. I don't give a fuck about.
I'm betting on the Meg.
I don't give a fuck about Aquaman.
Sharks are popular.
Right. I don't give a fuck about Aquaman. I don't give a fuck about this upcoming this fucking Blue Beetle. I think that's gonna bomb. I think that will be the bomb, by the way. Demeter is gonna be the worst bomb by a mile. I think there's no way.
That's like a horror shit movie, right?
Yeah, but it costs a lot of money. It's not like Insidious, which actually made its profit back. This is actually bad. So, yeah, all right.
I'm hyped for a giant CG shark. Fuck, I'll see it. Oh wait, it comes out. It came out this week, or it comes out this week.
Meg 2 comes out today.
Today.
So, yeah,
I'll see it this week. Fuck it. I'll tell you all about it.
In fact,
I'm gonna watch the Meg one on the first before I go see it.
In fact, you're gonna tell us about a movie that you saw that made basically no money last weekend, and that is Disney's Haunted Mansion. So, Haunted Mansion, Mark, what did you think of this film? I didn't find any interest overall. Because again, it's like one of those Disney summer movies that is another reboot of something that we've seen before. I saw the Eddie Murphy one. I thought it was fine at the time. I would honestly put it on the level of the fucking Scooby-Doo movie back in the day. That fucking bad CG one.
This is back in 2003. I think I only seen this movie once in 2004 when it was on DVD. We just rented it. As a kid, as an impressionable kid, I forgot what impressionable kid. I guess.
Impressionable.
Yeah. Who doesn't have criticisms on anything. I thought it was a fine movie, and the movie, when I look back at the trailers, I was looking at trailers before I went to go see the newer Haunted Mansion. I was like, what's this movie look like? Okay, it looks bad. It looks like a bad movie. Right. I don't want to rewatch this, but I'm going to experience this through a review. So I started watching the Nostalgia Critic review of the Haunted Mansion, and it's a bad movie. It looks awful. I don't like. I know watching movies through reviews is not the is not a good way to get an opinion of a review.
But it saves you 2 hours.
Yeah.
It saves you 2 hours.
Steal your opinion from another YouTuber or something like. This movie does not look like it's worth my. Even from the trailers, this movie does not look like it's worth my time. But like it's aged pretty bad, and it's a bad movie in general. And like I've been on the ride since then. Let me try to go to the next slide. Damn it, Google.
By the way, the only thing lifting up that movie, the only real magic of this movie is Eddie Murphy trying to do his best. That's really it.
Eddie Murphy making wacky faces a movie.
Yes.
But like it's the movie, the Haunted Mansion movie itself, the 2003 movie.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much inspiration from the ride itself or integrates it into its story.
Gotcha.
Because there's a lot of cool things in this ride, and they add like a lot of like hidden lore within this ride. But like it's more just like it's not a scary ride. It's a very like a horror themed, not horror, but a horror themed ride. And it's like it's a very fun like little tour ride. It's not the type of ride where it's just like it just goes fast or there's any drops. But like it's just like it's a show. It's like a little show, like little special effects. You see these awesome animatronics. You see like a lot of things floating everywhere. And you see like I love this little effect. These are like some kind of like projecting animatronics or something. Looking at this ride in person, it's really cool. These are some really cool effects, and like a lot of people are very fans of this ride. And from what I hear, a lot of people are usually disappointed with the 2003 movie. Big fans of the ride, and because it's a very popular ride, so I remember like Disney was trying to make this around the time like Pirates of the Caribbean came out too.
Yeah,
it was 2003, right?
Yeah, Disney just keeps on with the trends because they knocked it out with fucking Pirates, and then they went and said, we haven't had enough, let's keep it going, you know. Because
they were trying to do something new, so they were trying to make
theme park movies.
They really hit it off with Pirates.
Yes. But Johnny Depp really hit it off.
Yeah, but like Pirates showed them what they wanted to do, and like they just use they use the
pirate ships.
They made an Eddie Murphy. They made an Eddie Murphy movie, and they used
They used the pirate ships.
Yeah, but like for Haunted Mansion, they made an Eddie Murphy movie, and they use like the Haunted Mansion as a vehicle, a setting.
Yes.
It's not about the Haunted Mansion. It's just about Eddie Murphy.
His antics. And if you like Eddie Murphy, I think it's a good movie for his it's a fine movie for his antics.
It looks bad.
I'm saying that he's the only thing that's saving the movie because he's the only thing.
How recently have you watched it?
Again, oh my god, like I said, years and years ago. But what I'm saying is the only thing about the movie, after watching a trailer before, trying to fucking get my evidence down, the only thing about the movie that I think is good is his antics. Whether or not the movie's good, I think that's the only thing. And by the way, by the late 2000s or early 2000s, even his antics weren't amazing like they were in the 80s with something like what the fuck am I thinking of, that fucking Beverly Hills Cop. So, you know, he was still funny. I mean, that was when Shrek came out, so, you know, but it was fine.
Yeah, Shrek was funny.
Let's get to the 2023 movie. Mark, you've seen it?
I was about to say after that, another experiment.
You're going all the way through the.
Yeah. I might as well. I need to bring the mention because this came out last year. The Muppets Haunted Mansion, and this was one of the because it's still another Haunted Mansion movie by Disney.
Right.
And this is like I love Muppets. I love puppets in general, but like this is one of the weaker Muppet specials. It's like a 1 hour special on Disney Plus.
Disney doing bad Muppet stuff in 2022. Who could have thought? Man.
Disney were sometimes doing good Muppet stuff, but sometimes they do some lame, like the new Muppets Mayhem show. I wasn't vibing with it. It didn't really make me laugh all that much.
Right.
But like, this took more inspiration from the ride than the 2003 movie, but it still didn't do too much with it.
Gotcha.
But like, as we're getting to the 2023 movie, so I wanted because I was like, I wanted the best experience for this movie, so I was like, why not? I wasn't very hyped for this movie, but I was curious, because them remaking this movie, this is kind of Disney wanting to do like a course correction. Because the 2003 movie still exists.
Are you sure they want to do a course correction, or they just wanted to make money? I don't know.
Both. Yeah. No,
but
I mean, like they want to make like they probably want to make a franchise out of this, like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Good point.
Because this is an entirely different tone from the Eddie Murphy movie.
Yes, you would know.
Oh yeah, well it is.
Right. So what did you think of it?
It's just a fun movie. It was a fun little. It felt like a fun bottle movie. By the way, I just so I can get the best like effects and stuff, I went to the Washington.
Oh my God! Was it actually worth it? No. You have
not that much. I mean, it was. I think I enjoyed the movie a little bit more with the effects, but like it did. But not that much more. They didn't use the full potential of 4DX, but it was there.
Okay.
It uses somewhat. Like,
not like Fast and Furious.
Like when there's little sound cues, when there's a jump, the seat rumbles.
Ooh, difficult
and then,
programming
when
that.
There's lightning, the theater flashes.
Ooh.
I was hoping to use smoke effects at some point, but it didn't. But like it was a fun to watch, and it was fun with the little effects.
Right.
Do I recommend it watching with the effects? Not really. I mean. This was a nice movie, and this definitely does respect the source material that is like the Haunted Mansion. It actually integrates the plot lines of the ride itself very well. This is definitely Disney trying to Pirates of the Caribbean up the Haunted Mansion ride.
Yeah, I just want the only thing I would say about this movie that interested me at all was Lakeith Stanfield. Anything that he's in, again, he's not Eddie Murphy, and I don't think that's the thing, is his tone is completely different. So you're not going after that tone that you went with in the first attempt. But this is a very excellent actor.
Everyone in this movie, every actor in this movie is really good, and the fun of this movie is all these characters interacting together.
Gotcha.
And that is the whole movie, and it's fun for that. I think this is going to be because it's not very scary. I don't know if it tries to scare you. It feels like it doesn't. But just like the ride, it's horror themed, but not a horror. Right. I wouldn't even say it's a gateway horror movie. It's just spooky themed, but it's very Halloweeny. I think it's going to eventually come to Disney Plus. So when that month of October comes around, I say give it a watch on Disney Plus if you have the free time.
Yeah, because maybe that's why they lined it up here, because they were going to make it. They think they're going to get more money by putting it on Disney Plus in the holiday season. Yeah,
this is
the holiday of obviously Halloween.
This is not a fantastic movie, but it is a solid watch. It is a solid movie for what it is, and this trailer represents it perfectly. It's exactly what it is. If it doesn't look like something interesting from the trailer, then the movie probably won't be that interesting too. But when I saw the trailer, I was like, yeah, it looks fine. It looks fine. There was a funny joke in there in the trailer, and it's that same joke is still funny in the movie. And it's it's a solid movie.
Okay.
Solid watch.
Cool beans.
Yeah, right. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
All right. That was Mark's review of Haunted Mansion. First, I just want to let you guys know, of course, ScreenBlast Podcast. We want as much support as we can get. Oh, that's Mark. Look at him. Look at the dashing man dancing.
Look at him go!
If you could just, help us out with ideas, questions, topics, thoughts, more. Just if you want to hit the thumbs up, if you want to subscribe, if you want to support us, that would be great. We would really appreciate it. He really doesn't know how marketing works because he's doing this in the middle of the fucking sell point. But again, if you want to send us questions, topics, ideas, podcasts, any questions and more, send them to us at ScreenBlastPodcast@gmail.com. That's ScreenBlastPodcast all together at gmail.com. Guys, thank you for watching, and we're going to jump in to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
All right, let me...
Mayhem.
Yo, come on, y'all. Let's get the goods. Yo! What? What the... Y'all some little tortoises, huh?
Dude, TMNT, Mutant Mayhem.
Baby turtles.
Guys, just to run down here, this movie obviously directed by Jeff Rowe. This guy was from Mitchell's vs. the Machines, and you can tell the influence from the design of this film. It's co-written by Jeff Rowe, Seth Rogen, and Evan Goldberg. Now, in all the advertising, It keeps saying Seth Rogen, but it really feels like it's a lot more Jeff Rowe and Evan Goldberg's movie. Just a heads up, Rowe, he has writing credits on Gravity Falls, and he has writing credits on Disenchantment. Goldberg is more closer to Seth Rogen. He wrote movies like Superbad, Pineapple Express, The Green Hornet, and The Interview. Music is a guy named Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. And the scene animator is Ala Efe, who also worked on Attack the Spider-Verse this year. So, A+, good job. This movie is filled to the brim with stars, by the way. This movie is fucking star-studded. Got a couple new guys, and this is really cool. Micah Abbey as Donatello, Shimon Brown Jr. as Michelangelo, Nick Canto as Leonardo, Brady Noon as Raphael, Jackie Chan, of course, the old man now, as Splinter, Ayo Edebri as April, Ice Cube as Superfly, did a really good job at that, and Paul Rudd as Mondo Gecko. Giancarlo Esposito gets a short stint as Baxter Stockman, and Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Ultram. So, before we get into this movie all the way, let's do a quick talk quickly about TMNT as a whole. This franchise is nearly 40 years old, and it sold billions in merchandise after this licensing. Jesus Christ. Billions in merchandise after a licensing deal to Playmates. The first series debuted in '87. There were 4 animated series, and Mutant Mayhem is the 7th TMNT movie. Just heads up, by the way, Nickelodeon movies, they need a hit, because they haven't done much since, in terms of like stardom, since like you had the first Rugrats movie and Rango. Those are the 2 real juggernauts in there.
They tried, like, they had 2 SpongeBob movies back to back in production, and they both, like, well, one didn't do so well in theaters. Did, like, SpongeBob Out of Water do well in theaters?
The first one did good.
Obviously,
Out of Water did fine financially.
Yeah, I'm talking about like SpongeBob Out of Water, because freaking SpongeBob Run didn't even make it to theaters because of the pandemic.
Yeah,
and I don't think it would have made money anyway.
It was planned to, but yeah, it wasn't gonna make money. It didn't seem like it. But yeah, it's that was a situation there, you know. Well, but overall, let's jump in here, guys. Nostalgia for TMNT. I'll start with you, Martin. You're joining us, of course. What is your nostalgia for TMNT as a whole?
I believe my earliest Ninja Turtles was probably the one to 2003, 2006. That was my earliest Ninja Turtles show. I know I was introduced by my brother because he's a huge fan of Ninja Turtles and just got me into it.
I didn't really get too much in the like they were there. They're okay. My biggest exposure to the Turtles is like the first live action movie with the Jim Henson costumes, because I like puppets and I wanted to see those costumes, and it was really cool. And from what I heard, like, the movies downgrade in terms of sequels, and the third one is especially bad. I never bothered watching the second one because it looks lackluster compared to the first one, how dark it and what they're able to get away with. Because I think I heard like there was complaints about the Turtles having weapons, so they barely used their weapons in the second one.
Interesting.
And then I'm talking about the live action movies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Never had any interest to try to watch that 2007 movie. And I never had any interest to watch those Michael Bay produced movies.
No.
I think it's funny everyone calls them Michael Bay movies, but like it's not directed. I never remember the director's name though.
It was produced, and he had a significant hand because he had done so much with Transformers. That was the thing, though.
I never remember the director's name of who directed those weird live action movies.
That's understandable.
There are ugly looking CG creatures in that movie. Yes. They can make them look somewhat like a nice design. I guess they were going for realism.
Yeah, that was.
But like it definitely turned me away from watching the movie. That's for sure.
Okay.
Like when they had that original ugly looking Sonic design for the first Sonic movie, it turned a lot of people away, and they were always making fun of it. But like when they fixed the design and actually made a really good, like the Sonic really looked good and merchandisable.
It was the highest grossing video game movie until Mario. Yeah.
Yes. Well, one of the highest grossing. I don't think it beat Detective Pikachu.
No, but
Detective Pikachu made more money.
The sequel did. That's what I'm saying. It's the legacy of that fix that they made.
Oh yeah.
Led to a sequel that became the highest grossing video game property. Movie.
One of the, I think Angry Birds, before Mario movie, Angry Birds 2 still had that record.
I swear we looked at that back when the Mario. Okay, it doesn't matter. Point of the matter is, TMNT has been through quite a lot over these years. Honestly, for me, 2014, 2012, whenever it started, that I watched quite a bit of that when I could, and that was really my way in. Outside of that, I didn't watch the 2000s anything really. Just didn't hold me. The CG ones didn't hold me. None of that really held me up. So I wasn't really into it. And yeah, I do think favorably of that Nickelodeon series in the 2010s.
The two like from my retrospective, like the 2003 was here and there. I watched like an episode here or there, but I wasn't really attached to it. 'Cause I didn't really care too much for like the Turtles at the time.
Yeah.
I never got a chance to get to the 2012 show, but then when Rise came out, I liked the art style of Rise. And I like the design of it, and I tried watching it. Fell in love with Rise. Like the characters and story were great, and funny enough, it's like the shortest incarnation of the Turtles. Like all these Turtle shows, like have multiple seasons. Rise only has 2 and a movie. But like I started working backwards from there because like I need more Turtles, so I started watching 2012. I liked the 2012 one. I liked the 2003 one, and the most some least favorite one, funny enough, is the original 87 version. I like the first season, which is the first season of the 87 Turtles is like the 5 episodes is the first season. But after that, like that 87 Turtles is like a hit and miss.
Gotcha.
Like very like some of those episodes are like corny 80s/90s writing, but there's some decent episodes out of it. But it's the most iconic incarnation of the Turtles. Whenever you see them Turtles in video games, it's usually based off that one. They get the most crossovers. They had a crossover with the 2003 Turtles, and they had another crossover with the 2012 Turtles. And for all I know, if there's like another multi-dimensional Turtles thing again, they're probably gonna come. They're probably gonna be like the stars that come back again.
Oh, of course.
But like every time the Turtles are represented, it's usually the 87 Turtles. They
are the mascot.
They bring back. They are the mascots.
Yeah.
Even though like the 87 Turtles you cannot watch. You can watch every other Turtles on Paramount Plus except for the 87 Turtles.
And they just got the rights to those, by the way. So it might change pretty quickly. Because they did just get the rights to those. So I mean, you know.
It's weird, but like you can watch all of 87 Turtles on YouTube.
Gotcha.
In the perfect and decent quality. It's not flipped or anything.
All right.
The rights are weird.
Yep. All right. So, talking a lot about Turtles, going into it, let's jump into this new one here. She's got me saying Rise of the TMNT. Mutant. By the way, I would say theoretically, I think this is the reason why they cut that one so short. They were ready to move on into this new concept. They had this in development, and I think that was probably the reason that they slaughtered, unfortunately, the Rise franchise there.
It ended.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it was cut off, but it ended.
Right.
But they left it at a point where like if they want to, there can be more of it.
Right.
It'd be nice if there was, but like where it is, it doesn't feel like it cut off at a bad point or in the middle of the story. It ended, and it's a good show.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about Mutant Mayhem here. This is the latest film, of course, just dropped. So let's actually get into this review. I want to start by talking about the Turtles, talking about Splinter. Martin, you have a lot of thoughts about the Turtles as a whole, like the team, and I know that you were going to be comparing this. I want to get your thoughts on that. You saw the movie separate from us. What did you think of? You saw it the most recently out of all of us. What did you think of Mutant Mayhem's portrayal of these Turtles and Splinter?
It was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I liked most of the characters in there. The Turtles themselves, I didn't really have a problem with them. None of them had anything that stood out like I did in the other show. For me, they basically just same thing. But no, actually that's not true. I did really like the way Donatello was portrayed. Like he was really, really funny. He had some really, really great one-liners that I just had me laugh out loud a couple of times. It was one. I know there was one part where he was just like when Leonardo was simping on April, and he was just like his hormones kicked in all at once, and he ran. And as he ran up the screen, that did give me give me a laugh out loud.
Target is across the street. We must use stealth and cunning to infiltrate the human world and retrieve Gogurt.
I don't want to speak too much. There's a spoiler in it's kind of a spoiler. It goes with a spoiler with Rise, but like with Splinter in that one too. It feels very similar, but they go all out with the Jackie Chan influence in this movie. Yeah, this is a fun movie. This is the I don't know how I feel about like this is my pet peeve, like just like movies and shows in general. I don't like reference humor where it's just we're gonna say the name of a property that exists and that's the joke. Like I remember like one of the most cringiest lines in like the Monster Hunter movie was like some guy said, "Hey, what do we look like? The Guardians of the Galaxy?"
Like the whole sentence, the whole fucking title.
Yeah, and I'm just like thinking, okay, so if the Guardians of the Galaxy didn't exist, you wouldn't be making that joke. If it wasn't a hit movie, you wouldn't be making that joke. So that is like the cringiest part, except for like when like they deliver it right, or like when it makes sense. But like it's also kind of like it's a hit or miss. That's hit or miss humor too, because you have to rely on the audience knowing like if they know the name of that property, if they know if that property even exists, especially little kids.
Yeah.
But like other than that, I feel like the actors ad-lib a lot. Because this, like, it feels, the conversations, or, like, the joke, especially the jokey ones, just feels real, because they all, like, it's very realistically observed, because they constantly talk over each other a lot, but, like, the conversations are very fun. And it's, like, this is definitely the type of movie that, like, you want to watch with your friends. This is the perfect movie to watch with friends, because you just vibe with it, and, like, it just, like, it's very relatable, and we were just like, I think we would if we were to watch the movie alone, we still laugh at it, but the laughing is amplified because we were with like seeing it in a group with each other.
Absolutely.
So this was a fun time. If I was to, if any of you guys, any of my friends listening, if you Bryan, if you decide to rewatch this movie again. I will join you. We have to just get a group party just to rewatch this movie again, because it is what I like to call a contagious laugh movie, when it's a movie you exclusively want to see with a group.
Yeah, and the humor actually works well. Very good humor.
On top of that, the action is very fun in this movie, but like...
Oh yeah, we'll get to that.
We're going to get to the action. Okay, that's also... It's I have a praise and like a peeve with it, but I'll bring it to you.
Alright, just thoughts on Turtles and Splinter, my side. Again, I think this is so funny how you couldn't be more opposing to the Bay not you, but more the film itself is so opposite of the Bay era TMNT. It's amazing because
I assume so. I haven't seen the movies. Have you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first one. Yeah.
You're gonna say?
But the thing is, like, the comedy is in the trailer. The only real comedy in that movie is in the trailer. The funny shit is in that trailer. There is so much that's actually comedy gold in this movie from the Turtles that is not in the trailers. They don't spoil everything, and in fact, they can't spoil everything because there's so much in this movie that is gold tier comedy. And like you said before, the voice actors, they felt like they were really into it. It felt like they had that core connection, like they knew each other.
They had to be recording in the same room.
Right. It had this believable and genuine like sibling energy there, and they did a really good job with that.
My favorite conversations like bacon, egg, and cheese.
Bacon, egg, and cheese. Yeah, that's right. And I love, of course, the ooze part was already in the trailer, but that was still funny. Like the way that they it still works. But yeah, like again, this movie does not cut off those comedy moments. They don't say, "All right, that's enough," and we're gonna cut scene. It's like no, they let them continue, and I think that's the Seth Rogenism that came into this movie. That writer that works with Seth Rogen. I think that was the point. Is you get a lot of this dialogue where it carries, but it works and flows really well because it's natural.
Because this going back on your point, was the Michael Bay movies any good?
I mean, Mark, I don't give a fuck about the Bay movies anymore. Like they don't matter at all anymore.
Oh, were they good or not?
No, they were fucking awful. They were dog shit. People watched it and made money. Again, remember this Bay movie made money. The Bay movie made money. The first one made money. The second one bombed, but the first one didn't make money.
Yeah, oh yeah, the audience was like, you're not ripping me off again, fuck that.
Yeah. So, again, I think the key here is, like, this really tapped into the same thing that made Spider-Man Homecoming great, which it was just this groundful, youthful story. Like, you've grounded, youthful story, with, especially when you get to the core of these characters, these Turtle characters at least. Obviously, there's things that are much more fanciful than being grounded, but overall, the point of these characters and what they're going through, you know, it's like, you can really empathize with that. They're not just giant CGI fucking monsters. They go further than that, and they really make a great way to it. They did a good job in attaching you and finding ways to attach you to these characters. Yeah, like you said, just the one-liners, the things like that. The dialogue is so fluid, and that's the thing that I have to give to these Turtles. Again, they are my favorite interpretation by far. I haven't seen Rise yet. I know you're going to say go see Rise, but what I'm saying is, in terms of,
I say go see every show. Every show is good. Even like the '87 show is not bad.
So again, the whole we talked about this after Transformers. I don't want to oversaturate myself with like this with like, again, like, I like where this leaves me. I like where I feel post Turtles Mutant Mayhem, and I know that there's more out there, but the core
I haven't seen it either.
With these Turtles is they do a really good job of even welcoming any newcomers in. So the same way that the 2012 series introduced a lot of people on Nickelodeon to that franchise that hadn't watched.
Heyo!
Like, this does a really good job, and we'll talk about the future for this. This movie does a really good job of saying, hey, and I think, by the way, I didn't mention, I think this is really good for this generation. Mark, you brought up.
So we're gonna talk about the action.
Well, Jesus Christ, fucking, can I finish?
No.
Well, Jesus Christ. This movie does a really good job of, I think, being for this generation, and I don't want to sound like an old person, but, you know, you bring up the comedy of the product placement. I think that when they bring up, like, Beyonce and fucking whatever, like, when they're saying, like, these jokes when they're at the movie theater, when they're watching the movie, or they're, like, just, you know, out and being themselves, and, like, the energy just comes off of them. They have so much personality. I think that's just really good method, like a really good way of saying this is them. This is, you know, again, my sister Felice is 15. It feels just like the energy that pops off of them. It's like, you know, it's teenager energy of any age and any demographic, but it really fits. And I do, by the way, I think that them learning on video, I think is really good for this generation as well, because that's how they learn.
Yeah, I would say
they learn on like most kids learn on YouTube. During COVID, my sister learned how to do a handstand and flips on YouTube, and then she just fucking did it casually all the time. I think that this is a really, really good.
Most of my technical how-tos come from YouTube.
Right.
Of my knowledge, I only know how to hack stuff because of YouTube.
Right. So, yeah, but that's why it's like, I think these Turtles work very well for the age group that they're, not that they're aimed at, because they're aimed at anyone. I think anyone's going to enjoy this movie, but I'm saying that their portrayal of being teenagers, I think, especially in the present, is better than I think most movies handle teenagers.
Yeah, I definitely will say the reference humor is very realistically observed, because kids, well, even us, we speak in references. Like, hey, remember the time? Remember the time? Hey, Peter, remember the time? But, like, it's just like in terms of like writing and on actual paper on the script, I just like it still put people in mind. It's just the joke is the existence of a show, or the existence of a property.
I'm Michelangelo.
That makes you Leonardo.
No, Leonardo. He's sensitive.
All right, let's move on to the controversial point.
But I mean, if they can do it,
okay.
I mean, if they do it, I mean, just like I said, don't not do it. Just calm down with it. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, it is funny when they get the delivery right. Like that fly villain. I forgot what he said, but he mentioned he did like a same like time of reference humor too. But his delivery was very funny with it.
Yeah, Ice Cube. We'll talk about him. He does. Really
Ice Cube.
But yeah.
All
right, let's talk about the controversial point of this movie. This was a big deal when it first was announced, when we first saw the teasers, when people saw it, they lost their minds. I will say, I'll be the first one to talk on this one. I think this might be my favorite interpretation of April. I don't give a fuck. I don't know anything about the other series, but I think this was a fucking awesome interpretation. And it comes down to the fact that they really characterize her.
So just say it's your favorite interpretation of April so far, because you haven't watched a lot of any of the other series. Yeah.
Anyway, again, I think the point is, it comes down to the fact that they characterize her really well. You know, again, she feels like a real character, like from the jump. Not, I'm gonna, again, compared to movies and TV shows that get a lot of time to fucking work on that, like in a 2-hour time span or under 2-hour time span, they do a really good job of, hey, this is April's personality. You get to feel her as being a real character. You could feel that the writer was using their own personal, like, anxiety about, like, public speaking and attached that to her. Like, all that felt genuine and real. They did a really good job of, like, all right, let's find a way to attach something that makes her feel genuine, like a character, like an actual person, not just a stand-in character, not just a generic April O'Neil. Like, you know, I think Lois Lane has this problem in a lot of places where it's like, you know, she's a reporter, does this, boom, and it's like you just set it up and that's it, and then like maybe you develop it later. But I think this from the jump, you know, like she's
her character in My Adventures with Superman is good.
Again, I'm saying in, you know, I just wanted to, you know, again, I let you talk, but you know, I keep fucking talking, and but you know, fuck you. I
just want because it's not going to be on subject anyway. I just wanted to throw that in.
But yeah, no, I just think you know, like I love the fact that, like, you know, again, she's not just the automatic wingman. Like, she'll leave when she feels like things are like just for health purpose, like, and she's doing things logically, and she's her own character, and I think that's really good, and it stands out to me instead of it just being, I'm a news reporter and I'm generic and that's this and this. Mark, what did you think of April O'Neil, and do you think that the controversy was overblown?
Very much so. My favorite incarnation of April O'Neil is obviously like the Rise version, because she's like I like her character type in like Rise because she's like very high energy, very actiony. She can kick as much ass as the Turtles, and she didn't even need to learn anything. And she's just a fun character. This incarnation feels like similar to the one in Rise, except like. It's even down to like the skin color, but like except like she's a bit like lower energy, and not a kick ass person, but like she's still a fun character. Again, she's like the most comparable to like the incarnation in the Rise, but it's still like a fun character to be around the Turtles with. That's all I have to say about it.
Martin, throw yourself in here. What did you think? You said something about April, like you said something brief before, but what do you think of April?
Yeah, out of all, she's probably my least favorite incarnation of the character. I do like my April to be a bit of a kick-ass. So and after, like I said, 2012 is my favorite incarnation of the series. I'm not gonna say she's super bad, because she did grow on me by the end of the movie. I did like the portrayal towards the end, but at the beginning when the whole shy girl thing that had going on, I wouldn't say I was particularly flowing with that. I do like her. I don't think it's fake, and for the other April O'Neils to be headstrong from the get go. Like I like that about them. I like that they opinionated and will reach their opinions, or go in as just as brave as the Turtles before, and what the situations call for.
To Superfly, and overall just the villains, temporary villains, and for what we got, the enemy team as well. So guys, Superfly, you know, I love how they treat him in this movie. I love the fact that we're not just going straight to Shredder. I love that this actually is very interesting, the way they, you know, design him. It's very cool, but we'll talk about the animation and art style toward the end. But the fact, like the Naruto Gaara first Naruto meeting situation, I like that, where the development is just tweaked here and there. It really lets you attach to Superfly more as a character, because he went through the same exact thing down to a T. And, you know, whether you think that's coincidence or not, I think that it's a very well executed thing that attaches you to a character that just is less interested in trying to be helpful to humanity as a whole. He finds himself in a state where he wants to actually go beyond that because of what he feels is this, destructive nature of humanity. And I just think it's down to psychology between the two, between Splinter and Superfly, in terms of how they raise their team around them. I think that's very cool. What else do I have? Again, like we saw earlier in the year, we saw something like Nimona. I don't want to spend time on this too much, but just in my notes, like you saw how, for instance, like I think a bad way of doing it is like, or just a different way is Nimona, for instance, she was treated like a monster and she just went into hiding forever. Meanwhile, we see this different psychological take in two different ways, through Splinter's growth with the Turtles and with Superfly's growth with his team. And again, I like the fact that they are just, the team itself, they are much more developed than the cardboard villains, and I got to give it to the Gecko, who really is a standout on that enemy team. I thought he was very awesome. I love the connection he had with the Turtles. By the way, he's voiced by Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, so really good job voice acting, Paul Rudd. So, Mark, what do you think of Superfly and the enemy team? By the way, he just drips coolness. Ice Cube, really, really good job on the voice acting. You took this role over. Fucking fantastic voice acting. Like, he deserves to get more roles in voice acting because he has such a distinct voice that it is fucking fantastic anytime he's on screen. So I think that, he really sold this villain. He really did a goddamn good job. And A+ to fucking Ice Cube in this movie. Like, fucking fantastic. Man. Mark, what do you think of this movie? I mean, I'm not movie. Fucking. What do you think of Superfly and his? I'm
gonna tell you what I think of the movie. He was like he did a good job of being really threatening just by being himself. I guess like that's also like a tribute to the the way they designed him in the animation of his character. Ice Cube just playing himself. He's just really good in this movie. And like especially like the way he talks about how like his thoughts on the human race, on how he just wants to enslave it casually with the Turtles, it's just like really well done. And I love like the entire team they have with him. It's weird to have like Bebop and Rocksteady just like not be attached to like Splinter or his antics, or like just be big villains for the whole entire thing. But like, you're switching. Yeah, switching over. Okay, it's so fun. They don't have much speaking roles. I keep forgetting Seth Rogen is in the movie until I forget. He's either Bebop or Rocksteady.
He's one of them, yeah. And that's where you really hear him.
Until his character talks.
Yeah.
Which is he has at least like one of the
it's like opposite Mario movie where he was.
He has at least one of the screen times in the movie.
Right.
But like everyone else, I love Mondo Gecko. He's fun. Everyone else is a fun character. It is weird that like this incarnation. This is a spoiler conversation anyway.
Yeah.
But this incarnation is like what the Turtles is like. They all live with each other. Now, they all live with a bunch of mutants.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea, and again, I think that they knocked out so many things. We'll talk about that at the end, but Martin...
even when he turns into a giant monster, he still has some fun dialogue, too.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Again, dialogue for the win, voice acting for the win with Superfly. Martin, what did you think of this guy? And his team?
Ooze. I like that. I like ooze. So look. That same ooze made me.
Just phenomenal. I love Superfly in this movie. Super intimidating, super scary. Wouldn't want to mess with this dude. And I think it's just because Ice Cube himself is a very intimidating dude in his own right. So when he just bring that character into like someone like Superfly, it's just an automatic. It's automatically going to be a great representation. But as for the other characters, I did like them. But like I feel like they were incredibly underused. Like I know it's because there was so many of them that they really could get them all airtime in a 90-minute setting. But I really wish I could explore more of them. But beyond just Mondo, like you said, like Mark said, like Seth Rogen, they all got speaking roles, but it was just so minute that unless you were really focusing, you probably didn't even notice that these people, these particular actors, because like there's a bunch of big names behind these mutants.
I love the fact that the turtles are actually more curious about, oh, there are more mutants, and they get the backstory and they learn about it, and then they're like, oh, okay. And it's not until they actually learn about, okay, what's your actual plan that becomes villainous, like that they're absolutely against it. But I love that decision. Because it changes this movie, it makes it a lot more. The villain it becomes a lot more connected overall.
I love how they
your empathetic mindset toward him.
Yeah. I love how they show like how the turtles are like kicking ass, how kick ass they are, and it's like beating the fuck out of like all these humans, and like beginning of the movie, or not, in like the middle of the movie before they get to the mutant team.
You're talking about in the garage, right?
Yeah, well, period. Like throughout the movie and before you get to the mutant team, the rest of the mutant team, like they're just like kicking everyone's ass, and then
they were nervous about it first.
Huh?
Funny enough, they were nervous about it until they actually did it.
Yeah,
funny enough.
But like they just show how kick ass they are, and then like you just feel like they're unstoppable, and then when you get to the mutant team, it's intimidating. They're outnumbered, and they are matched up, and like Ice Cube's character is Superfly. He is bigger than them, and he can, and from what it looks like, he can probably beat the fuck out of them at any point, like if he wanted to.
Yeah.
And so like there was like it was a tense moment.
Yeah, I love how they called back to the very beginning of the movie where like, so I think we've done everything we did here, and yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're done. Like, obviously it's like, you know, you feel that too, like as a viewer, you're like, damn, this guy is fucking huge. Do we have to? And it's like, yeah, you have to. Yeah, of course. This is the end of the movie. You got to take care.
Now the human race is at stake at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, again, there's another enemy that's only here very briefly, and you know, we get Giancarlo Esposito as Baxter Stockman. Very good portrayal. Let me go back real quick and I might as well pull this up just because. Giancarlo Esposito is fucking Baxter Stockman. Again, you don't really get a lot of him, but I love the fact that like he's the one that sows the seeds for this.
He was a CEO guy from The Boys, right?
Yeah, he was the CEO from The Boys. And again, Maya Rudolph as Cynthia Ultram, like she really took this role on. You don't know that's Maya Rudolph at all. She used to be on SNL, and she did a really good job sort of hiding that voice, changing that voice, and she's just the evil in the background. You know, and then we see that she has Splinter at her will after the fact at the very end. So I like what they did with her. I like how they led into the next thing.
It's a very like a CG like 3D looking movie, because Spider-Verse like tries to like, well, it emulates a lot of styles. So mostly just emulates like a very 2D cartoon comic book, like a 2D like cartoon, but like with comic book flair.
Yes.
This is definitely like it's making use of like the 3D and it's kind of very like fluid CG animation, but like it has like a consistent like 2D like art art style to it on 3D like paste over like the paste over has textures on these 3D models, but it's very interesting. My thing is like this movie is like the setting is very dark, so I'm losing track of like, because the action is very fast paced, so I'm losing track of like what's where in some scenes. So it's hard. It's like not all the time, but like some of the times it was hard to see like what was going on, because like because there's like a lot of lines are just moving around, blending into this darkness. And like it's just like I want to see what's going on, but like it's just like lines are like meshing in with the colors, and it's just like some parts are like a little bit messy. But other than that, I do like this art style. I just like I hope they like maybe like in the next like either whatever show or movie with this universe, like they like fix a little bit, like probably make some like color, sharpen up some of the colors.
Spider-Verse 2 did with Spider-Verse compared to Spider-Verse 1.
Yeah, well, even with Spider-Verse, I was like, because the Spider-Verse movies are very good with coloring. So no matter what, I never had this problem with Spider-Verse. With this movie, it's like it feels like with this art style, there's more lines to it.
Yeah, of course.
Like a lot more lines to it, so that's why it was like a lot harder to see with its darker setting and action. So it's very good. I just hope they fix it. That's just my major problem with this movie.
That's fair. I just think, now that we know the overall direction of where they're going with the story, I can understand. I can. I will. It was dark, but I now we know that it will. They're out of the shadows at this point. They're going to be. We're probably going to end up getting a movie where they're not just fighting at night, and they're in the streets, and it's going to be bright and sunny, and that's going to happen. But yeah, I thought the animation itself, like the action and the movement, I love that it's like super over exaggerated. And again, with the characters, I feel like there's this like weird claymation comic combination on top of the CG layer. Like somehow they mixed both together because like there's this weird flow the way that they move. It's very cool. And I love the expressiveness. I think it's great. I think this is, again, it's a standout in terms of just these animated movies. And, like whether it's Spider-Verse inspired, which it is, I do appreciate that we are getting these films where, like each movie is not just this Pixar knockoff. They're not all aiming toward, hey, what does perfect CG look like? It's like, no, we are now getting there's a lot of scenes in this movie overall. Now that I'm getting to the animation and art direction, there's a lot of scenes here that are really good posterized scenes. There are really good scenes here where it's like, oh wow, like these are not just great scenes for action and for placement, they're just good overall, like in terms of their design and their aesthetic. And we did not get that for a good decade during that like 2008 to 2018, right before Spider-Verse. It was all very much like, here's a CG set and that's it. And we are at a point here where we are just getting very good art direction, and this is a great example of that. It's like you said, it's dark, but again, I love the fact that the lighting comes from, you get like cars, you get LEDs, you get neon, and that's where the stuff comes from.
Yeah, very similar to Spider-Verse.
A really good job there.
Very similar to Spider-Verse. It's like a lot of freeze frames can be its own poster.
Yes, there's so many, like I said, posterized scenes, and I think the only thing I have left, I just, again, like, we lost that for a while, so, again, it's like high quality art being made in theatrical animation. It is good to go back to that. We were, again, missing that for a very long time. I cannot understate that it's great that we have, like, DreamWorks did it with Puss in Boots. This movie's doing it. This is from Paramount, and we have, of course, the legend that is Spider-Verse. So it's all over the place, and it's done with intentional effort. So good on them on that. Martin, did you have anything else to say that you wanted to say on the action, animation, and/or art direction?
Nope, I'm good.
We did have to
Wait a second. You said you would go shopping, then come right back. Where were you?
And obviously this is made in present day, but in terms of the music direction, they clearly were going for that same sort of style, and I think they do a really good job of mixing music that is not just the same old needle drop. It is very much fitting. Like, for instance, the moment that the appearance of Superfly is some of the coolest shit I've ever seen, like, ever. It is so cool in an animated movie. Like, it's just, when he's coming in with his car and he's got the team opening his door for him.
Yes.
Like, it's so fucking cool, man. Like, holy fuck. I don't, like, they did a really good job executing that. And it's all down to sound design as well, and it's down to that music that they chose to execute on. Mark, do you have anything to say on the soundtrack?
It's very good. The very fitting needle drops.
Yeah. Again, I think it's better than the standard.
It's a good soundtrack. I wasn't paying attention too much to the soundtrack. I guess I was appreciating the art more. But that's the same thing with a lot of movies I really like. I unless it's like a musical, I don't really memorize the soundtrack too much unless I rewatch the movie.
Unless it's Barbie.
I don't remember the soundtrack to Barbie.
You don't remember? That was like, you saw that a while ago. I forgot. Yeah. All right.
No, I mean, I wasn't paying attention to the soundtrack. I was paying attention to everything else.
Interesting.
Everything else is great, but I usually, if that's for every movie, even my favorite movies, I usually pay attention to the soundtrack on rewatch.
Gotcha.
Unless it's like, it has time to breathe. Right. I mean, songs don't count. I mean, when I'm talking about soundtracks, I'm talking about background music.
Right. Yeah, and By the way, you got so many final thoughts. I do have my own final thoughts that I wanted to mention before closing on. Before we go to just the last bit here of the final other topics, moving on from Mutant Mayhem as a review.
I look forward to like with two more of this incarnation to this world of Turtles. It doesn't feel like it's setting up for a Nickelodeon show. It feels like it's setting up for another movie, but like I'm down to watch like a Nickelodeon show, even though I'm not sure if like they can keep this on TV budget. From what I'm hearing, this is going to go into like Paramount Plus exclusive shows.
Yeah.
And there might be like I think they said like they're gonna have like ones based on the villains of the series, which okay, I'll see how that goes. But like I'm down to watch anything from this universe of the Turtles. So like this is another good incarnation of the Turtles, and I'm excited to see more of it.
Yeah, like I said before, I think this is a goddamn gold tier movie. I think it's well executed. I think this is really good, and I want to leave this specific topic with this. I love what they're doing with art direction. I cannot understate that enough. The fact that there's effort put into this, because we saw when we were growing up, we saw things like I'm just going to go off on the list. Like you saw like Road to El Dorado, bombed. Sinbad, bombed. Atlantis, bombed. Treasure Planet, bombed. These movies that had effort put into them, a very high effort put into them in the animation department. These are some of the highest quality animated movies at the sharpest end of the era when you would have theatrical 2D films. And they bombed. They did not make money. And so we moved into an era of just CG movies that were fun, yes, but did not have artistic expression to that
degree. All of them. Lilo and Stitch was very ambitious.
Yes, but I'm saying that the critical pieces were starting to fall apart. Like 90% of those movies were losing money after the year 2000.
Okay, yeah.
And so you had outliers like Lilo and Stitch, but outside of that, most of those movies with artistic expression, like you said, Lilo and Stitch was a good point. That was a beautiful movie that did make money, but most of the movies were not making money, and people were not going out to theaters to support these movies that had very good visual expression and artistic expression. We are back to that point now. We have, like I said, Spider-Verse, we have Puss in Boots, and we have now TMNT from Paramount. And you know, a sequel's already confirmed, but if this movie bombs, you know that they're going to hesitate. They'll make it a Paramount Plus show, that's guaranteed, but you know they're going to probably sort of tiptoe around that idea if this bombs. Please support this movie. This is a beautiful expression of art. It is very fun to watch. It is visually pleasing on top of the fact that you've got really good comedy, you've got really cool dialogue. These characters feel like they have that family dynamic. The action sequences are awesome, and yeah, that's where I will leave it before moving on to the next point. What's up, Mark?
Well, like, I don't know if you can compare TMNT to all those movies, because, like, this is definitely advertising itself as a comedy. And, like, well, like, were some of those movies existing around the time, like, there was computer animated movies already, and, like...
Well, again, remember, Pixar came out in 95. I don't want to spend too much time on this.
We're not going to.
Pixar came out in 95, and that was the first wave of many moving pieces into CG. Remember, the point of CG was it was cheaper to make. And so it was cheaper to make, and people thought that CG was the next step, which is why it got mass appeal. And so people went to see CG because it was like, wow, this is revolutionary. This is cool. And so they reached out, and, you know, it's like, boom, you know, more and more CG movies started getting produced. And remember, they... Literally, night and day, Fox Animation Studios moved over to Blue Sky after Anastasia failed, Titan AE failed. Now, Titan AE wasn't really good, but Titan AE was still an experiment of artistic expression.
Yeah.
Like I said, Disney tried, and they tried, and they tried again. And their movies were losing money. Lilo and Stitch was the last one that really was a juggernaut in terms of 2D, theatrical, artistic expression, really good movie. And then they just switched over. Obviously, they started working with Pixar, and they had Chicken Little with the first experiment. They started moving into it, Meet the Robinsons, and then but their 3D craft really got sharper and sharper and sharper, and they got good. And again, DreamWorks Animation, they started with 2D animation, and they had ants, but they weren't really leaning their way into CG animation until Shrek. Shrek made a lot of money. Shrek 2 made a lot of money as well, but all of between those two movies, they had quite a few 2D animated movies that were very high quality. In fact, they were really high. They were great movies in terms of their visual, very good execution, but they bombed. And so again, I know you don't want to compare them, but this is the era we're in. We are finally back to a point where visually, theatrically, we are seeing movies that actually are artistically visually pleasing, whether it's a comedy. You know, you compare that to like Emperor's New Groove, which also was a bomb, by the way. Comedy, more, detailed movie like Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots, like Mitchell's versus the Machines. You talk about like movies like that, like it's good to see that we're in a generation finally back to where CG animation is not like, just generic, bland. It is now to a point where we are getting films that stand out, truly stand out, and I do not want to downplay that.
I guess the only original film that like kind of did it with the had a new unique art style is like Mitchell vs. Machines, and that came to Netflix. Everything else is kind of an established IP. Even Puss in Boots is Shrek.
Yes, but they didn't need to attempt the art style. That's what I'm saying. You're missing.
They didn't need to. I'm just saying the point is that I get what you're going for. I don't see it as the same. This is like this is definitely different from like a different type of like IP. I guess like a media pile from like all those other older movies. But I get what you're going for. This is a comedy, and it's also like an established IP. That's what's gonna get people to see this. We're probably gonna see more original movies with like unique art styles, but like in terms of I guess like we're in terms of artistic era. They're starting off with established IPs, and we're probably gonna go into original IPs with with unique art styles. We haven't seen that yet.
No, again,
I guess Disney is trying to.
They're trying, but not so much. That's the thing, is they are the slowest because they were they had Pixar, and they were very like their Disney animation studio is just not copy paste, but in terms of like their art direction, there's no real inspiration. They don't really have any uniqueness because it's CG, and ever since the 2000s when they did that shift, it's really been just we got Pixar and let's just work together on this. And
even Pixar movies are
doing better, are doing more unique things, but overall,
no, I would say even they're like kind of they were like they were uniform until. Like I'd say, like Luca was like.
No, absolutely. They were very. Yes, that's the thing, is they were not doing that at all. You had a really cool look with that, and again, another claymation style kind of thing where it's like it's not fully claymation, but obviously it's much more CG looking, but it shares sort of roots in that look of claymation, those character designs. And again, they're starting to lean a little less into that generic Pixar look that inspired studios. But what I'm saying is, whether it's established or not, I appreciate that the art style is being shaken up because they didn't have to do that. Look at Illumination. They barely changed it even for Mario. What I'm saying is they don't have to, but they're doing it. They're making movies that look visually appealing. They are posterizing. That are posterable. And whether again it's established or not, we have not seen that since we were kids. And the last time we did, they were financial losses.
I can see why we're getting to this change with animation nowadays, because like I just mentioned, like a lot of these movies, like a lot of these CG movies, were starting to become more uniform and kind of like blending into each other. And like I think like Sony definitely starting with Spider-Verse, kind of changed up a lot of things and inspired a lot of animators to start like experimenting, even though like it's like it could probably be a more difficult process, but like a lot of studios now are trying to make they're not Illumination because they like to keep it on the cheap side. That's how they make their money a lot. But they're trying to experiment to have their IPs stand out more, and that I like how we're coming around to that now.
Yeah, and again, like even back then at that time, like look, even for the greatest movies like How to Train Your Dragon 3, they were very they're visually appealing, but they're still using that. And I'm not saying that it's terrible, but in most instances it was. We're doing that Pixar look, and that's where we're going.
Oh, sorry, my earpiece died.
Right. We're doing the Pixar look, and we're going for human or just very realistic looking things, and that was the chase for a very long time, even during a point when we had very visually appealing movies. And it's good to see that we are out of that, and again, it's good to see. That's really it.
I just hope with this type of 2D, very clearly 2D on 3D model art style with most movies are going to start doing. I hope it's they keep finding unique ways to make it look, because if they don't, it's going to we're going to come around to the same problem. They're going to blend into each other. I mean, you can probably say that's the same thing with a lot of these action movies. So some people weren't just they weren't interested. Some of these action movies bombed back then, Shark Pen and Atlantis, and if people weren't interested in that. And when they came out with another movie that looks very similar, they was oh, it's just more the same thing. So with this era, we're trying to give things different looks so people can clearly see it's a new thing. But it's very possible that we can go full circle and have too many of these movies look like this.
I do agree, but it's very minor, and I'll leave it at this. It's a very minor point. If they do or don't, I appreciate that they actually look like art.
Yes.
More than anything. So, yeah. Last thing here. There, again, just for official purposes, sequel and Paramount Plus series are in the works. The Mutant Mayhem director is going to stay for the sequel. That's confirmed, and 2 seasons are already confirmed for this for Tales of the TMNT. Apparently, the synopsis for this series is: faced with new threats and teaming up with old allies, the Turtles will discover who they really are when they don't have their brothers at their side. So apparently, it's a little more split in terms of where they're all going. It's going to be a unique take. What do you?
Yep. Yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like we got the most of this world from this movie alone, and it does feel like it's opening up to a series. And this was a well written movie. It does feel like a movie. It doesn't feel like a TV pilot. Thankfully,
right.
And I'm excited to what's to come. I can't wait for a series. I want to know how because we had this conversation with The Incredibles. How do you feel about this? Because we're probably going to get a show, and it's probably not going to be on par with the movie. Probably a little bit cheaper.
This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It is not a new property like The Incredibles. It's not The Incredibles at all, and so I'm fine with it. It's not the whole discussion point that we had with Incredibles was that it was this. It is. I think Incredibles is better than Star Wars. It is literally one of the best things ever made theatrically. And so to make a hypothetical animated series with The Incredibles is a little dangerous because you're playing with fire in terms of the quality, and I don't want any quality to dip. With TMNT, we've had so many interpretations. It is a toy line. It is this. It is that. This is just one of 17 billion iterations of TMNT. So and also it's Viacom. Don't care.
Based off your hopping off your point off Star Wars, I love the original trilogy, but those movies are also very flawed. I don't like it. There's a lot of things I feel like are better than Star Wars.
I mean, sure, but I'm saying for the time.
Oh yeah.
You can compare it now and say it's mid, but at the time it was revolutionary. So that's all I'm saying. For the time, Incredibles was absolutely great, and still is absolutely groundbreaking. So yeah. I think I don't really know where we're gonna put the sequel, in terms of where the sequel will go. So I don't know if we have any thoughts. Martin, do you have any thoughts on where you would want the sequel to go necessarily?
No, I'm looking. I'm liking where it's going now. Like you said earlier, I do appreciate that it wasn't Shredder wasn't the first threat they had to handle. It's actually something else, because it makes more sense to the Ninja Turtle stories for that not to be the case. Because having Shredder always be the big bad in the movie is kind of played out.
I'm pretty sure they can just fix out the next one. And it's he has some history with the fucking rat or some shit. I'm still gonna miss him. I'm still excited for the Shredder coming. I'm still gonna have fun with this show.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is an interesting journey. Again, I just want what's going to be funny is, of course, because these are all the actors for the Turtles are young. They will be older by the time this gets recorded. They probably will be in their 20s by that point. Well, I think there's 2 of them that are already 19, so they'll be in their 20s. Their voices will have evolved by that point, and I think that's very cool. Let me see if I can get this fixed here. But I do, I think that's very cool, and I would love to see the, again, I think that it's great that we were hypothetically probably going to get something where they're probably going to try and connect this. I wonder if they're going to connect the series or not. I don't know, to the sequel, if it's going to be like a MCU type thing where, it's valuable information to check it out and then go into the sequel. I don't know, but very curious, very interested, and I think that's where we'll wrap it. Unless, Mark, you have anything else you want to say here?
No, not really. I'm good.
All right.
Martin, you're good?
Okay, 1, 2, 4. All right, then. This has been the Jesus Christ. This has been the ScreenBlast podcast for this August evening. Guys, of course, find us on K9 Biscuits for Mark, K9biscuits.com.
That's K9BISKUTS.com. It brings you right to my YouTube channel. At the time of this recording, at the time of most of our recordings, there's no new video. The last video was freaking 3 or 2 years ago, but eventually I will make more videos. I have too much of a life right now. I'm too busy, but there'll be videos on there eventually.
And of course, you can find me at Newlands. Yeah. And of course, you can find me on At Democracy. If you haven't already, the cartoon chat focus on Incredibles. It's a 4-hour-long conversation about Incredibles and the sort of legacy that high-quality content deserves in terms of our sort of conversation there.
There's more cartoon chats to come.
So more cartoon chats to come, but that's on my channel. So At Democracy, ATHEMOCRACY.com. And you can find Martin. We appreciate Martin. You can always find him on the ScreenBlast podcast because, well, he doesn't really have any location for us to recommend you find him.
You can find him at the McDonald's across the street.
That's true. You make a very good point. So, guys, we're going to wrap it. Thanks for watching.
Logging out, everybody!